So, as I've been looking around on YouTube for years and doing research and all that kind of stuff, I came across one thing that I never see anyone talk about. And I just discovered it recently and I thought I absolutely had to share. Okay. Have you ever been on YouTube or just looking around and you think, this person's hair grows so fast? And there's a few of these people we look at on YouTube or just on social media on Instagram, and they cut their hair and all of a sudden it's back to the same length. And then they cut their hair again and you're just like, what is the secret? How come your hair grows so fast? Okay, my sleeves keep falling, whatever. And you just keep wondering, oh my God, how does this person's hair grow so fast? Now, of course, genetics are involved, and for a lot of people, their hair grows fast because their hair just grows fast. That's their genetics. But I discovered one major thing, and it's not about the cut, it's about the specific cut, the hairstyle, okay? And I am going to share everything I learned with you guys because it really works because I proved it by seeing it over and over and over so many times. You want to know what the cut is? It is the bob, okay? Now, I will maybe rephrase this as the blunt cut because I have seen so many different versions of this, okay? It doesn't matter if your bob is here or if it's here, okay? As long as it is in that specific shape. Now, if you're wondering, since it grows here so much, why didn't you do it? Well, I actually did. I just did a long version of that bob. But can you see my ends? I did do it. You can't really tell in this hairstyle, but I did do a version of this haircut. So, some of the people I give an example of who I look at and I'm like, wow, your hair grows so fast, and they have this exact same hairstyle. I'm going to put some of them on screen right now. I think one that's been viral a little bit recently is Taya Renee, but a lot of them do this exact same hairstyle, and then within a short amount of time it seems like their hair just like grew overnight. Okay, now I'm going to break down in a couple tips exactly why this grows your hair and why you should consider doing this haircut as well. So the first one is the no-brainer, but this specific haircut gets rid of as many split and damaged ends as fast as possible and gets rid of as much as possible. Okay, now here's the thing: whether your hair is in layers or you have breakage in certain areas, most people don't have the exact same length of hair everywhere. Even I don't have that. Like, my hair naturally grows in layers, but also I usually trim my hair in those layers because it looks nice, it flows nice, it makes your hair look really good, especially if you add like curls to it or anything like that. But the issue is, if your hair is in layers, and let's say you go and trim your hair and they just trim the bottom of your hair, wherever your hair is going up, where the layers are further up, you won't be able to have access to those because they're higher up. But when you cut way above where your split ends are and you trim all that off so that the ends of your hair are like full and thick and they don't get like they don't come to a thin point, you can still have U-shaped hair. But if it doesn't come to like a thin point, you are more likely to get rid of all the damage at once. That means the hair is not going to continue splitting up the shaft and getting shorter and affecting the other hairs because it's tangling in the damaged ends. The next thing also has to do with caring for your ends. So now we all know that our ends are the oldest and driest part of our hair, right? Which means we always have to give a little bit of extra care to our ends if we want to make sure that they are really healthy. Now, if you take care of all your ends, let's say you oil your ends like me. Can you see this straight hair? I have had my hair straight and it's still flowy, it hasn't reverted, and it's not heavy. I have had my hair in this same hairstyle for almost 4 weeks. This is my fourth week, and I have still been able to oil my ends every single day. This is the oil that I've been using, the Kerastase one, and this is how far I've got. I've been using it every day for like 2 months now, and I've only used that much. But anyway, this is not an ad for the oil, or it doesn't matter about the oil, okay? This is about taking care of your ends. This means when you deep condition your hair, you put a little bit of extra on your ends. When you moisturize your hair, you put a little bit of extra on your ends. If you oil your ends every day, you're only putting that oil on your ends. Now, without this cut, and if you have hair that's many different lengths, you may encounter this issue. I'm actually going to show you a picture of my sister's hair before we trimmed it. She had a curly cut, and when we straightened it, we discovered she literally has like layers of hair, almost like, you know, when you have split ends in the form of a ladder. You have to moisturize your ends. So let's say when I'm oiling my ends, I get a little bit of oil and I just do this. I just oil this little end because most of my hair is all here, right? You can't get 100% of your hairs to reach the ends because that's, you know, it's just very difficult. We all have hairs in different growth phases. So you will have a few bits of hair that are short, fine. But at least 80 to 90% of your hair, you can access it when you get your ends and you can just moisturize your hair. Now, if my hair was like how my sister's was before we did her a good trim, actually was more of a cut, which is kind of like what I did this time as well. If I'm doing this to my ends, but then I have shorter hair here and more hair here and more hair here, it means only this bit of ends is getting the good hair. So then when it grows longer, this hair is going to be damaged and thin, but the bottom hair is going to be nice and healthy. But I'm going to need to cut it anyway because the hair on top needs to go, right? And then if I decide to, let's say, put oil on all this hair, then now there's too much oil and it's weighing my hair down and my hair is heavy and now maybe it's breaking because it's weighed down with too much product, right? So having your hair cut bluntly like this will allow you to get access to your ends and treat them accordingly without messing with the rest of your hair. Another thing I absolutely love about this hairstyle specifically is it grows out in a very aesthetically pleasing way, which means once you don't have to continue cutting your hair like this, especially if you don't like the shape of a blunt cut, right? Most people's hair doesn't grow in a blunt cut, specifically because your hair at the back is growing from here to the back, and then this hair has to be longer to make its way all the way to the back, right? And then most of us have a section of hair that grows faster. Some people it's the front, some people it's the back, some people it's the sides, right? So eventually the shape of your hair is going to change. But I found that usually this helps your hair grow into like a nice kind of even U shape. So as it's growing out, you can just now start to trim the hair according to the way it's growing and not always cut it in this blunt cut if you don't need to. But what I've noticed is that every single person I've ever looked at YouTube on YouTube and thought, wow, their hair grows so fast, it looks so good. At one point, they have cut their hair like this or some version of it. Another thing is maintaining healthy hair is much easier than trying to create healthy hair. So let's say you've got damaged and split ends. It takes way more effort to try and make them appear a little better. You need like, you know, split end products to kind of like smooth it out and make it look a little bit better. But when your hair and a lot of your hair is all healthy, long and even at the same time, it's easy for that to just like continue growing out and going down at the exact same level. Now, if you think this haircut is going to solve all your problems where you just cut your hair and then you're going to treat your hair like crap, once your hair reaches whatever length it is it was at before you cut it, you're going to experience the same issues again. This is like a total reset for your hair. You start caring for your hair where like 80% of your hair is like super healthy, no split ends, nice and thick and full at the end. It's just gonna continue growing down that way. And all you need to do is occasionally cut a little bit of split ends, okay? Now, if it's like different lengths and it's split here, if it's split here but not split there, and now you don't want to cut the longer side because you don't want to make it too short and all that. This is just going to be like a full head of healthy hair that just continues healthily growing down. So my advice is always cut as much as you need to, but as little as you have to, specifically if you're on a hair growth journey, if you want to grow your hair long. If you don't want to grow your hair long, I think that you should probably go as short as possible with the bob if you're experiencing breakage or damage, because it will probably grow out to the length that you actually want. But if you're like me and you're trying to see how long you could possibly grow your hair and you want it to be like at waist length, there's no need to cut too much hair. There's no need to cut a bob up to here if your hair is up to here and your damage is only up to here, okay? So my biggest suggestion would be see where most of your split ends and damage are and then cut like 1 inch above that, because there are other hairs that are, you know, hiding in there that you can't see. And if you keep cutting exactly where the split ends are, which is mostly what I do every single time, it's not going to work for you, okay? You will continue having the same problem of split ends and damaged ends because you keep just cutting right where the split ends are, maybe even to the point that when you cut, tiny little splits continue coming up because you didn't really cut the entire split end off. So, what you want to do is look at where your split ends are, cut above that, like half an inch to an inch above where the split ends are, and your ends should be full and thick. I mean, when you're cutting through with the scissors, you should hear the sound of the hair cutting, not just like little trims like you're dusting off your ends. No, you want to hear the sound where it's like thick and full at the ends. It's painful when you do it once, but it will make a change because I have noticed that my hair has not been getting much longer than where it is right now. And it's because I've been trimming around the same area and I haven't had the perfect routine for caring for my ends. But now I have the perfect routine for my ends. Like my hair is healthier than it has ever been in my whole life. It feels amazing. I'll show you a video of me like brushing my hair from the back so you can see what it's like from the back. But my hair feels completely different, a different texture. It's just, you can just feel it when you're like, wow, my hair, like there's just something about it. And a little disclaimer, this will not make your hair grow any faster because your hair is basically dead once it grows out of your scalp. So if you cut the ends of your hair, there's not going to be a signal that's sent to your brain that says, hey, and you just cut the ends of her hair, so now let's make it grow faster. No, your hair grows from your roots. Everything you can do to maximize hair growth from your roots is completely different. This is about length retention, meaning if you grow 1 inch of hair in 1 month, lucky you will most likely keep at least 3/4 of that. But if your hair is unhealthy and you have lots of split ends, you could grow 1 inch and also lose 1 inch because of breakage and split ends and damage. I have been saying this and I've said this in multiple videos, but watch this space. If you are not subscribed, hit the subscribe button right down there and hit the bell so you get notifications when you post a new video. Watch this space. I am going to retain more length than I have in the past 2 years in the next 6 months because I am that confident in how I have mastered my routine. So if you want to learn all these tips and everything that I've been doing my hair to get it to this point, make sure you're subscribed. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.